have in the shop here today Miss Julie from JBLD Leather School. Tell me just a little bit about what you do as far as different classes and things that you teach before we get into some of the tips, because we want to talk to you about some really just some generic tips on if you're just learning, just want to start getting into leather work, whether you already are or just thinking about doing some leather crafting. Between both of us and the classes we've taught and kind of the experience, I think there's just some tips to help people get started on the right foot and save a lot of pain and heartache along the way and extra expenses. So tell me a little bit first about classes you teach and what the background of the school is.
I have a leather school and I teach anywhere from beginning leather work for someone who wants to go into it full time, do it as a hobby, gifts for friends, family. I have fun classes where you can have a beer and a glass of wine while you're making something. And I also have a weekly class called Leather Club, where people come and build what they want to, and I'm just there for instruction. Leather 101 is a dog collar, and it gives you the beginning of working with a veg tan, dampening your leather, edging your leather, oiling your leather. Even though you should oil it when it's completely dry, we kind of go through the steps quickly, but it gives you a beginning sense of what you're going to need to do.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
So,
shaps are my specialty.
Right.
Shap making is 1 week courses, 2 week courses, 3-day courses, but I really love to teach the intensive shap making. So.
And so for the shaps too, just because I do have your website's actually tagged in the description. So if you guys want to check out Julie's website, she does have the different shap packs that she teaches. These are full pattern packs that come in there with patterns and instructions and lots of cool stuff. And you get to have further instruction once you get those packs, so you can ask questions and things like that. But if somebody's just getting started, what tips would you have for somebody just getting started in leathercraft? We were just discussing this a little bit.
Yeah, the very first tip would be to find someone who has a good reputation in the leather world, a good teaching reputation also, because it can get really expensive and you can end up spending a lot of money on tools that are frustrating. You don't know how to use them. I was so blessed to have Jesse Smith as my first instructor. And if you get a bad instructor or someone who just wants to spend your money because, you know, you get frustrated, you don't want to do it anymore. You need to find someone who loves doing leather work, like Joe. I've been doing this for 40 years. I could be Joe's mom, and I take tooling lessons from Joe because he's good at what he does. So find a good instructor.
Okay, that's a good tip. I like that tip for sure.
That's good. You are good.
But if you guys have any questions, if you're on here live with us, we are filming this live off the cuff here with what we're talking about. But if you have any questions specifically, drop those in the chat here, and hopefully we can address those right here while we're live. We love taking on live questions that are off the cuff.
Absolutely.
But, talking about tools, and there's a couple tools. I'm going to grab them so you can explain this a little bit, because that's the big thing, is what tools do I need? How many tools do I have to get get started? And I know me personally, when I started leather work, I didn't have the money to buy all the fancy tools.
Right.
And that's, I think, how a lot of people do get started. They don't necessarily have the money to go out and just buy everything you could possibly need. So learning how to make the most out of what you have and making tools more versatile.
Yes.
As you're starting. So I'm going to grab a couple punches while you explain this real quick.
Being resourceful is something that I love to teach in my classes. Joe's probably grabbing what's called a bag slot punch or a bag punch. Instead of buying a complete set that's $200 or $300, you can buy the, what is this, a 3/4? This is a 5/8 inch bag slot punch. So you can make that bag slot punch 1 inch, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. Whereas if you bought the 1 inch, you can't punch a 5/8 bag slot punch. So this one punch is going to do the job for you. Same with end punches.
I'm going to hold these up a little bit closer to our camera just so we can see. That bag punch is just that oblong punch. You'll see that in belts a lot.
Right,
Where
yep.
that belt folds over for your buckle, you'll see that bag punch in there.
And also, so that bag slot punch is also good for lacing. To lace together projects. It has many jobs. English end punches. Go ahead, I'll let Joe hold them. Instead of purchasing a 3/4 inch or a 1 inch, buy the 1.5 inch. It's a belt width size, and you can use that 1.5 inch punch to punch a 1 inch strap or a 5/8 strap or a 1/2 inch strap. You do not have to have the entire set. But when you do buy them, buy good ones. Don't buy cheap ones, or you'll be buying them again and again and again.
Yeah.
And I mean cheap. The word cheap means cheap. Inexpensive is different. Cheap is cheap. They're
Right.
gonna break. So
Yeah, getting the quality in
yeah,
there. It's good.
yeah. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm gonna check just to make sure I haven't missed any. Nick, howdy. Appreciate you being on there. Okay, what would you suggest if I was just getting started and I wanted to have the first 3 projects I should build as a beginner with minimal equipment and machinery? What are 3 good projects for me to learn different skills on?
The first thing I would ask you is what exactly you'd like to do. If you want to get into tooling, then we'd go that direction. If you want to not do any kind of tooling or stamping, then we'd go that direction.
Okay,
So
what if I
first
wanted a tool?
we'd do that. If you wanted a tool, I would probably have you start with stamping. Any students I get, I always start them with stamping because they get to use a swivel knife. That's something I would encourage them to spend good money on, is a good swivel knife, because it does make a big difference. A few bevelers and a couple stamps and maybe 1 border stamp.
So just to explain here, in case you're super new at this, let me explain what that difference between tooling and stamping.
That's huge in the leather world, and honestly that's something that frustrates me to see a professional call tooling stamping or stamping tooling, because there is a difference.
Yeah, so this project here has an example of both of it on there. When we talk about tooling, we would really talk about like this floral design here. Anything that's that full design, we have knife work and bevels and shaders, which are different tools to help add that depth in there, get the dimension, and really bring a lot of different aspects to that tooling. There's a lot of tools that make up that portion of the design. Stamping is going to be more of where you see a geometric pattern like this, what we call a basket stamp. Now, as I get that closer, we can see there's individual stamps and then this border stamp along there. So it's kind of that when we talk about tooling and stamping, that's that difference in there. I want to make sure we
And I start my students out with stamping because it gives you a feel for the dampness factor of leather, a feel for the tools holding them, the mauls that you use. It just kind of gets you a good base, I think. Tooling is more complicated than stamping, basically.
Yeah. Just seen a question come on here. Daughter of the Wilds asking, learning a tool right now, have the basic set and several add-on tools, steep bevel, mule's foot. What should I add now? Let's see, great question. I have a full list. I have to add on, maybe add that in the description later. But if you go to my website, 23plus.com, it's all spelled out. There's a link to an article where I talk about different tools. It's like simplifying the beginner set of tools. And that's going to have my full list of recommended tools that I would continue to add on to. But if you're looking to increase your tool block and start adding to there, I would recommend, for one, the good swivel knife.
Yep.
Whether that's stepping up to Barry King, a Leather Wranglers, there's several of them out there too.
Yep.
Those are the ones that I have used and have have experience with that I would recommend. When from your swivel knife, I think good bevels are key. I love my Berry King bevels. They're awesome. They're crisp. Personally, I like the steep ones, but that's a whole different subject. And then shaders, I like a thumbprint. I like a vertical line thumbprint is what I really love. But getting into those higher quality tools, they're going to be a little bit of an investment, but starting to add those to your block, I think is going to make a big difference. When you go knife, bevels, shaders are kind of your first three foundation tools where you want to get good quality, and then you can feed off from there for sure.
And you really do, I believe, and I teach, you need two mauls. You need one for beveling and you need one for stamping. Because it does make a difference. After doing this for so long, I can feel it in my hands. Like, and I was taught to do less work smarter, not harder. So when you stamp, you want to have the right weight of a maul. So the maul's doing the work for you. You're not, from your shoulder to your wrist. You know, you need to be efficient that way. I think that's super important.
Oh. So we got a question here. Oh, she says she has a 1 pound maul and a rubber mallet. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Jason asks, Julie, what sealer would you recommend for a dog collar, and do you have a favorite leather conditioner for dog collars?
Gosh, if it's a lab that's in the water all the time, I tend to use, I love Rayhol's Saddle Butter and Shop Wax. Their Shop Wax, they actually turned into a product called Dry Boot also, and it's for keeping your boots, the water out, water resistant. So that'd be great for a dog collar for not a finish, but a conditioner. Yeah. Finish wise, I like Phoebing's harness dressing. I like to be able to oil my leather. I don't care for a finish that doesn't allow the leather to breathe. So you're never gonna keep it forever unless you have a poodle that sits on your couch all day long and doesn't do anything. You know, they're well used. Dog collars are used hard.
Yeah,
So.
tan coat's another product that's gonna allow you to oil that later on as well, and it'll take conditioner through there.
Yep. Tan coat or bag coat, either one of those products are good.
I've never used the bag coat.
Yeah, and I also another one that I actually learned from you, the RTC Be Natural. Love that for a finish.
Yeah, that's a great with seals. I use that for a resist.
Yeah, I've been using it as a finish.
Too. Yeah, resist and finish. It works both ways.
Yep.
And, yeah, really good.
You got me hooked on that one.
Okay. Boy, we started wondering what we were going to talk about. Now we got great questions coming in. Let's see. RD Vieira, Senior. Oh, comment went over. Where to go? When you use the swivel knife, what do you use the... Oh, I think your comment cut off there. So RD, be sure to type the rest of that comment in so we can catch that. Make sure I'm not missing anything there. Let's see. Daughter of the Wild's asking, what are your thoughts on mink oil? Me personally, I have no experience with it. Julie?
The only experience I have with mink oil was oiling my dad's boots when I was a little girl. Oh. That's it. I tend, in the 40 years that I've done this, I really have a very small treasure chest of things I use. I tend to not experiment a whole lot. If something works, I don't change it.
Yeah.
So, basically, I use 100% pure neat's foot oil. That's my go-to.
For oiling?
Yep.
Yeah. That's the same thing I used to. I know other people use olive oil too. They get it at the grocery store and whatever. There's, I don't know. It's your personal preference, right? You find something that works for you. I don't know, especially when I teach too, I kind of always tell people that leather work is more of an art than a science. Yeah. And so there's no one right way to do it. There's several wrong ways to do certain things. Yes. But I don't think there's ever one right way to do it. And I know, like, when I teach something, it's my personal experience and what works for me. Yep. And
it has to do with the tanneries, what they use to tan your leather. There's so many things that go into the product you're going to get. Weather, humidity, different oils, finishes. There is one product I will not use on leather, and that's saddle lac. I won't use a lacquer. And it's a hard finish that nothing penetrates. It's like on there forever. I don't care for that. Leather is skin, and skin needs to breathe.
Yeah. And that depends on your, you know, again, on that product too, and knowing what you want out of your product, you know, that, and having that idea of whether, do you want anything to penetrate later on or not? You know, if it is something that you want a complete solid thing, you know,
Right.
then
You just have to experiment and ask someone who you feel knows what they're doing.
yeah.
So
Great. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna check. See, we got get a couple more questions going here. We didn't really set a time limit that we were about to go on here. What's the best weight for mauls and hammers? Personally, I tool with a what is it, about a 20-ounce maul, and then again, like Julie was saying, a heavier one for the stamping, like a geometric stamp is really good, but that's going to be personal preference and what you feel like. For me, a 20 ounce is really good. If my grandma was going to start tooling, she'd probably want a 12 ounce or something, you know. So it just depends on what's comfortable to you. There's no one right, but get comfortable for sure. Okay, when do you use the bevel knife opposed to the straight knife?
the bead, like a bead blade? Is that what he's asking?
He says, when do you use the bevel knife opposed to the straight knife? So, I'm not...
Oh, the angled one? Is that what he's talking, maybe? Swivel knife?
Yeah, maybe probably talking about swivel knife, the angled blade versus the straight blade. Maybe that's the question. I'm going to grab my swivel knife real quick here. I'm just going to assume that's the question. You can correct us if I'm wrong there. But so this blade here is being straight across that way, and they have a blade that's an angled blade that runs like that. This is what I use all the time. I use a straight blade. I don't prefer the angle blades. When I run that knife and I go to cut something, I'm drawing that knife back to me. I'm going to be tipping that knife, and I have control over it like that, where that angles that blade anyhow. Some people, their hand feels more comfortable to be able to hold it like this and have that knife already angled. So it really just comes down to preference and comfort on that.
I agree. There's no right nor wrong way on that. It's all in what you get used to and what works great for you.
Yeah. Most have been using leather balm as a top coat, that someone says. Yeah, and I think that leather balm, that's going to be another one that's going to allow penetration afterwards. I have some of that up there.
I don't know what that is. I don't know that I've ever used it.
It's
Phoebe's?
it's a pretty cool product from Phoebe's.
That's new for me.
She's talking about leather balm with atom wax. It's probably turned around backwards the way the phone's sitting there, but yeah, it's got. I'll use it a lot on the liners of belts. It makes a pretty nice kind of a supple finish in there. Okay, just a couple more questions here, and then we're gonna let you guys go. But there we go. What is your response when a customer wants to buy their own hardware or other materials to lower their cost, and it happens to be the same hardware you would normally use anyways? I know me personally, Steven, if somebody is, honestly, if they're shopping for cost, I'll just tell them right up, I'm probably not their guy. I don't claim to be the cheapest, and I'll never claim to be the cheapest. I build for quality, and I want to have control over the materials that I'm using. So
I just had a student get a hold of me the other day with a question, and she says, well, not a question, a statement. She said, I'm never going to have a customer bring me their own leather again. And I said, well, you really need, if someone, because sometimes it's sentimental. You know, their dad shot a deer, an elk, butchered a cow with their brand on it. but I would need to see it personally before I began. If it was something I thought I could use, absolutely. But the work is still the same. They're not going to save that much money, a little bit, but not that much. But it's all in really how you feel you can control your business.
Yeah.
Hardware, if it's the same hardware, I guess it would just depend.
Yeah, I think communication on that, like you say,
Yeah.
the sentimental thing
Yeah.
is a huge thing, and it depends on your business and how.
Yeah.
If any of you guys have followed the Business Builder series, you know that I say it's your business and how you want to run it and what works well for you. So that question can be answered a few different ways, but I think the point too on the cutting cost, you know, I'm more apt to let somebody bring me either hardware or materials when it's a sentimental type of thing. I've built entire purses out of old boots and belts and cutting things up, and it was a real pain to do, but it was a sentimental thing for them, and it was a really cool project. But when you talk about cutting costs, a lot of your pricing, and if you caught the Business Builders where we talked about pricing, you'll notice that you'll recognize this when you hear it. There's a lot more that goes into pricing than just my materials and my labor.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not just paying for if you're running a business. If you're just doing it as a hobby and trying to take some orders here and there, and it's a little side gig thing, yeah, then you may be able to just cut some material costs and that'll save somebody significantly. But when you're running a business, you have overhead costs, you have the cost in every aspect of your business that you're taking on, right? Your shipping, your handling, your receiving, your pattern time, your customer relations, taking orders, talking to them, all that communication time, your time that it takes to develop your patterns, your time
sweeping, cleaning up,
yeah, janitorial service.
I just went over this. Pricing is the hardest question I get asked because so much more goes into it than just something. But can I answer one of the hardware questions that I love for a customer of mine to do are conchos. If they want conchos on a pair of chaps, they say, okay, what size? And I say, okay, go ahead and find them. That saves me time. That makes me money because I don't have to spend, an hour looking for the particular kind of concho they want. So in certain cases, yes, it is going to help you, but you have to research and see if it's going to be beneficial to your business.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, very.
Pricing is hard. That's a difficult question for me to answer after doing this for so long with so many different aspects of the leather world now.
Yeah, pricing's been a hot topic on the Business Builder series there. But, the other thing you think about too, like go to the doctor's office and say, well, if I bring you a pack of rubber gloves, will that cut my bill down a little bit?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the actual material cost in something a lot of times isn't the cost. It's their years of schooling to learn that trade. The greatest thing, I love this when you talk about pricing. There's a story, I won't do the whole thing, but basically this big factory, they're a big ram jam, thousands of employees, things are running. Everything gets stopped to a halt because this machinery goes down. Machinery shuts down. Now they are losing money hand over fist. Like, this is a big deal. They call the repairman in there. The repairman comes in, he opens the control panel, and he turns one knob. Everything fires back on. And he asks the guy, well, oh, great, what do I owe you? $10,000. $10,000, like that's nuts. I want an itemized list. Like, you just turn one knob. I want an itemized list on that $10,000 bill. So the guy gets the scratch paper out, hands the bill to the guy, said, I'll have my secretary cut a check right now. Then, turning one knob, $1.
Oh, jeez.
Knowing what knob to turn, $9,999.
True fact.
Right? So
true fact.
That's my favorite pricing story when I think about that stuff.
Pricing's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. Well, we got man, we got way off topic on beginning leathercraft tips, but I think, man, I think to sum it up is get involved, get excited, try it out.
Yeah. Start small. I mean, honestly, start small and add to your treasure chest of tools. You don't have to have everything. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like these, for example, the punches. Get the 1/2 inch bag slot punch. You can, you know, cut that 4 times and make 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
You don't need to have the whole set.
Yeah, you know how many years it was before I even had a bag punch?
Yeah, I bet.
I started with just a round punch. I punched 2 holes and then the straight edge down there, right?
I understand that.
Yeah. What, so before we go real quick, what top 3 tools in your shop?
Top 3 tools in my shop.
Most often used.
Probably my 6x24 quilter's grid, because I teach, my students will tell you one of the things I teach the most is if you're cutting a straight edge, use a straight edge. Cut a straight edge, use a straight edge. Number 2, probably an end punch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
For straps, yeah, because round end punches and these English end punches are not easy to cut by hand.
Right.
So, but then if you can't afford it, make yourself a template.
Little
You know?
there. Yeah.
Number 3, gosh, I don't know. Good swivel knife
It's
for
full life.
tooling. Yeah,
tooling.
good swivel knife. Crummy swivel knives will make you not want to ever tool leather again.
They're hard to tool with, for sure.
So those are probably my top 3.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Just check, make sure. Focusing on making bags, wallets, and belts. Trying to find a strap cutter. Oh man.
Strap cutter. I still have the same one I bought in 1986.
Is this the same style you have?
Yep, that's it.
Yep, these wood strap cutters. I think they're great.
I've had it since 1986.
Got an adjustment on there. Set your width. Have the measurement and the removable blade in there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, in fact, and
They're
any
like
of the
15
tools.
bucks, I think. 15, 20 bucks at the most.
Oh, I think at the most,
Very
yeah, they're
inexpensive.
great little tool. So here, any of the tools that you are looking to get, if you're looking for a way to kind of save a little bit of money, and you're still at the point where you're building into having big business accounts or wholesale accounts, Weaver Leathers partnered up with me and allowed me to extend a discount to you. If you use promo code JOE10, JOE10 with Weaver Leather Supply, it'll save you 10%, and that's for tools, finishes, leather, machinery, any of that stuff you can save money on. Now, if you're already to the point where you've built your business up and you have a big wholesale account with them, you're already getting a discount. It's not going to do you any good there. But if you're just getting started or trying to build up there, that'll save you a little bit of money just for being a follower here. So we're going to address one last question here. I seen just pop in. Jose, you caught us just in time. What type of snaps do you use for belts? Me personally, I like a line 20 snap. It's a line 20 durable snap. They're a little bit bigger than like your Sagma snaps, but they have a little bit bigger profile here as far as the room they take up. But they're a really nice snap. They hold together, they last, and they're easy to set as opposed to the Sagmas. I've used those before, but they have a little bit of
Have a spring in them, don't they? Like
yeah.
a spring that holds the...
They're real finicky to set them. If you don't get them set just right, they don't snap super good.
Speaking of snaps and line 20s, I'm going to change one of my favorite beginner tools.
Oh, okay.
My Berry King snap setters, they're $30 a set. They have a line 24 and a line 20, are two of the best things on the face of the planet.
Oh.
You cannot set a bad snap with them.
Oh, nice.
They are phenomenal. Berry King.
Okay. There
Snap
you go.
setters. Yep.
Ah, awesome, awesome. Okay, repeat that Repeat that code. That code is Joe10, JOE10. Yeah, and I know some of the stuff they're out of stock on, and you can get notified of that when that goes back in stock, and I think just comes with their sourcing and stuff too. Judson, yes, glad you got to tune in as well. Yeah, the new place. I'm bad about leaking things out. I've leaked that out a little bit. We are moving to a new shop. It's going to be awesome. I'll have full information on that coming very, very soon. Like if you're probably within the next 2 business builders, you're going to see a little bit more info on that.
That's exciting.
But yeah, so appreciate you guys being on here. Any questions you have, shoot those at us in the comments. Try to get back to you on those. Again, in the description there, you can check out the link to Julie's website. All the pattern packs are available and ways to contact Julie for further questions about, she has class information on there.
Yep.
As well. And the link for the cattle barons, we got classes coming up.
Yep.
Pendleton Cattle Barons. Cattlebarons.net, and we have tooling contest as well as classes there. And
Yeah, because a few of the big leather shows have been canceled, so this might be one of the only opportunities you get to attend one.
yeah,
And they're awesome hands-on classes.
yep, love that. So appreciate you guys. Hope that you are having fun with your leathercraft journey, and be great to help you with any other tips along the way. So if you have specific questions that you want answered in a video, be sure to let me know on that, and we can try to explain that a little better in a video than just through text on that. So appreciate you guys, and we will see you on the next video.
Thank you.